Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up on the Monday edition of Carolina Week.
I'm Mark Oleksic. Any win against Duke is a big win. I'll have the after-party highlights from Franklin Street.
I'm Carla Babb in Chapel Hill. Coming up, I'll tell you one man's story in the fight for equality at UNC.
There was all the hatred you'd expect from another Duke-Carolina matchup, highlights and analysis in sports.
Mallory Nichols will have our 4-day forecast.
All that and a debate that will put a little bounce in your step. Carolina Week starts right now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to the February 12th edition of Carolina Week. I'm Jessica Floyd.
And I'm Adam Rue. Thanks for watching. This is something the Tar Heels could get used to.
For the second year in a row, the men's basketball team beat the Duke Blue Devils on their own turf, and many students enjoyed the after party. Reporter Mark Oleksic joins us in the studio with more.
Well, Jessica, take two powerhouse basketball schools, put them 8 miles apart, and you know emotions will fly, not just for the players, but also the fans.
It's a frenzy. It's chaotic. The only game you can really compare it to is the 2005 championship, and that was absolute madness.
Luke Steepleton has been a manager at the Top of the Hill Restaurant and Brewery for 7 years. He predicted how the latest chapter of the Carolina-Duke men's basketball rivalry would end.
UNC is too powerful. I think UNC will definitely win this game.
UNC student Rebecca Spangler agreed.
My guess would be 74-55 Carolina.
If the Heels won, Spangler knew where she'd go.
I spent Halloween up here looking over everything. I kind of want to be down there.
Down there is the intersection of Franklin and North Columbia streets, an after-party hotspot whenever UNC gets a big basketball win. And this night was no different. As police patrolled the streets, Tar Heel fans watched Roy's boys battle the Blue Devils. After some fear and even more cheer, came the sound everyone clad in baby blue wanted to hear. Even after the arrest of the pole-scaling cheerleader, ashes rose celebrating Duke's woes, and fire starting, jumping, and extinguishing fueled the party, all topped by cowbells. To Steepleton, the enthusiasm of Tar Heel fans proves why it's so easy to catch the Carolina fever.
Once you get into the family here at UNC, you can't root for anybody else.
And Steepleton speaks from experience. He moved here from Indiana, and after just 1 year on the Hill, he said he became a converted heel.
Mark, was anyone hurt during the big celebration with all the people jumping over the bonfires?
UNC hospitals didn't treat any burn injuries, but the Chapel Hill police made at least one arrest for drunk and disorderly conduct.
Mark Oleksic live in the studio. Thanks, Mark.
With all the madness surrounding basketball ticket distributions, athletics officials could be making some changes for next season. The biggest change to the current online system would make all student tickets general admission. Seating would be on a first-come, first-served basis, so students can sit with groups of friends. Students would also be able to wait in standby lines to claim any seats that remain open at halftime. The athletics department says it's likely the changes will take effect this fall.
And out-of-state students will have to shell out more money to come to UNC next year. The UNC System Board of Governors passed a tuition increase on Friday. Proponents of the increase, including UNC System President Erskine Bowles, argue that an increase is necessary to boost faculty salaries. But UNC Association of Student Governments President Derek Pantel thinks the increase is simply too much.
I don't think many people are disagreeing with what I'm saying. At the same time, everyone is more looking from a market standpoint, from a business standpoint, actually getting the best for their buck.
Also at the meeting, Bowles introduced Donald Reeves as the new chancellor of Winston-Salem State University.
If you're looking for a romantic dinner spot on Valentine's Day, some local restaurants are offering special menus. Foster's Market will be preparing a 5-course meal for your special dinner. Foster's menu includes wine to complement your meal. Other locations like La Residence on Rosemary Street are even providing an aphrodisiac menu. But if you haven't made reservations yet, you might be out of luck. Foster's will stop taking reservations tonight, and to dine at La Residence, you should have made your reservations a month ago.
On the day before any election, you can always find the candidates in high gear. UNC student government candidates headed to the pit today for one last effort to earn votes. Campaigners came out as early as 10 o'clock this morning to encourage students to vote for their candidates in tomorrow's election. Music and a barrage of signs greeted students. Today marks the last day of campaigning before polls open tomorrow morning. UNC junior John Seeds tells us why he plans to vote tomorrow.
When I come to college, I kind of get away. You are isolated from outside political life, and so to be a good citizen and be active involved in the candidates here.
You can vote tomorrow on Student Central. Polls open at 7 a.m. and close at 10 p.m. For all the results, be sure to watch our special election coverage live tomorrow night from 10 p.m. to midnight.
With elections only a day away, the current student body president has a few words of advice for the candidates vying to take his place. Carolina Week's Ida Asadi has the story.
When James Allred was elected student body president, he wanted to lead with one specific objective.
That the best student government is the student government that isn't drawing attention to itself, but instead is enabling the efforts of every other student organization, every other student out there.
He advises the best way to do this is by building on the projects of past presidents. The project Allred is most proud of is Ruckus, a music downloading website for students. Tar Heels have already made more than 2.2 million downloads. During Allred's term, students also saw a change in the way they print using their One Cards. There's now a 500-page limit to reduce waste. His advice to the new student body president? Besides being up to date with the SLICE calendar, he recommends creating a strong relationship with the administration.
The administration may be able to wait out one person, but they can't wait out the whole of student government, the whole of student body.
He believes this was the key to landing Madeleine Albright as the spring commencement speaker and other successes of his presidency. In Chapel Hill, I'm Ida Asadi, Carolina Week.
One reason Allred's been able to deal effectively with the administration is because his dad is the university's associate provost.
Coming up, a look at the African-American struggle at UNC from past to present.
And one man who helped integrate the university more than 50 years ago.
Hear that? How could I not? They can't be serious. This is their third party this week, and I have a test tomorrow.
Yeah, and they blocked me in. Again!
Let's party!
It's about time you guys.
Anything left in here?
I bet they're gonna leave their garbage out again. They do this every time when they have friends over.
It's important to be considerate of others who live close to you. You wouldn't want neighbors like these. Make sure to control your garbage, obey Chapel Hill noise ordinances, park only in your driveway or other designated areas, obey all alcohol laws, and remember, we're all living in this community together, so be a good neighbor.
You've heard of the fight for civil rights in America. Reporter Carla Babb has the story of what happened right here in the 1950s.
This year's UNC freshman class includes 470 African American students, but Leroy Frazier remembers a time when it wasn't this way.
We heard one day from the court that we were admitted into the university, and the next day we were having our picket. No time really even think about what to expect.
Frazier was one of the first 3 African-American undergraduates at UNC. In an instant, he went from the comforts of an all-black high school to an all-white university. The transition wasn't easy.
Making threatening calls, saying I shouldn't be here, I shouldn't go there the next day, I better be careful if I go there, blah, blah, blah.
As Frazier stood on these South Building steps to register for classes in 1955, a civil battle was raging for African American rights. Little did he know, as he stood at this very spot, that he was opening doors for future generations.
Honestly, thank you. Because without him, I would not be here today.
Junior Nick Neptune is running for student body president in this year's elections. He's charismatic, intelligent, and charming. He's also African American, and he says his color carries stigma that he can't always shake at UNC.
I would love to say that people don't see the race anymore. They don't see your gender, they don't see, they can see beyond it. I would love to say that. But I think we have to be honest and we have to be real with ourselves and recognize that people still do.
I have a dream.
For years, African Americans fought discrimination. Frazier used the court system. Others marched in protest, especially in the South. Chuck Stone was an outspoken editor of many black-owned newspapers during the early days of the civil rights movement. Stone, a personal friend to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., says Southerners were very resistant to change.
And I said, "No, Martin," I said, "I don't want to live." And this is 1957, Carl. I said, "I don't want to live in the South." And I said, "I'll never live in the South." He said, "Chuck, the South is changing." I said, "Yeah, how come you're marching so much?"
Although Stone declined King's offer to work as executive director of King's Southern Christian Leadership Conference, he continued to advocate for racial equality around the world. His prominence brought him close to icons like Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. Stone says the risk was great for the fight for equal rights.
So we got inside, and I said, "Malcolm, being a friend of yours is pretty dangerous." He said, "I know, Chuck." I said, "How long do you think you have to live?" He said, "Oh, maybe a couple of months, 2 or 3 months." He was killed 2 weeks later. We were really, really good friends, and it just devastated me.
UNC students say being in the minority is still difficult, but nothing like 1955.
It wasn't total isolation, but in class, it was. In most of my classes, I was the only black.
You get onto campus and you immediately recognize that you're one of not quite so many here.
Despite the hardships, Frazier cherishes his time as a Tar Heel undergrad. He says if he had to do it all over again, he'd still go to UNC.
Whenever I see Carolina Blue on television playing Duke or playing somebody, I'm always pulling for Carolina because it's warmth in me. It's part of me.
Carolina is certainly a part of us all, especially during an incredible basketball season like this one.
One of the highlights of this season didn't involve dunks or rivalry, but it did involve another influential African American. Not only did Carolina destroy Wake Forest, winning by 37 points, but one of the most recognized men on the planet made an appearance. The basketball legend was a freshman at UNC when the Tar Heels won the 1982 championship and was ACC Freshman of the Year. He completed his degree in 1986, and ever since we've all wanted to be like Mike. More about the reunion in sports. Some statues on UNC's campus tell more of a story than most of us are aware of. The student body first appeared on campus in October 1990 right in front of Davis Library. The 3 most controversial of the statues are now gone, but those that remain still kick up dust. One of them portrays an African-American female with a book propped up on her head. To many, this statue refers to the African tribal custom of women carrying baskets atop their heads. Chancellor Paul Hardin moved the statues in January 1991, and they now rest in a secluded part of campus.
From controversial statues to controversial cartoons, art has been the voice of both sides of the civil rights battle. During a recent visit, Pulitzer Prize-winning cartoonist Doug Marlette says his own family's history inspired his editorial cartoons and novels, including his latest book, Magic Time. Marlette says his family's ties to the South's history, such as the KKK's presence in his childhood, add to his desire to promote civil rights. He says his cartoons and books sometimes rub members of his extended family the wrong way.
And now we're joined by weathercaster Mallory Nichols. Hey.
Hey. Mallory, it's been unseasonably warm outside. What's up with that?
Well, don't get used to it. Walking around campus, you'll notice there are a lot more people outside. Coming up, we'll tell you if these students will be able to keep the games outdoors.
Get moving. See what a 10% weight loss can do for you.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm weather forecaster Mallory Nichols. If you were hoping that the temperatures or the nice weather that we had over the weekend and much of Monday would stay with us, unfortunately it's not. Tomorrow around Tuesday afternoon, the rain will start to come in and stay with us until Wednesday afternoon, so watch out for that cold rain starting tomorrow. As well as after that happens on Wednesday afternoon, if you have plans for Valentine's Day on Wednesday evening, it's okay, you don't have to take your umbrellas with you because the sunshine will return. But unfortunately, as that sun returns, the cold front will go through and colder temperatures will start to affect us later in the week. If we go to the satellite, you'll see the rain that I was talking about that's going to start to push east and into our area. Right now it's above us, so we're still in a warm, dry period, but starting tomorrow, Tuesday afternoon, that will start to push east and start to affect us. So we'll see a lot of on and off rain coming tomorrow afternoon and lasting until Wednesday afternoon. If we take a closer look, you'll see we have a little bit of clouds out there right now, and this will start to increase as we head into Monday night and Tuesday morning. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. Those will start to build tomorrow afternoon, and we'll see that rain come on and off, and then the cold temperatures start to increase as we head into Wednesday. If we go to the current surface map, you'll see right now it's right above us. As I was talking about, the cold front is sitting right to the north of us in Virginia, but this is going to start to push east, and if we go to Tuesday, you'll see on Tuesday that it'll start to extend a little bit south, and that cold front's going to push to the east and affect us a little bit more. As you can see here, yes, it's starting to push east. We're having a little bit more rain, but that cold weather hasn't started to affect us yet. If you see on Wednesday, it's pushed past us, the rain will start to clear out, and we have this high pressure system behind us that'll keep us dry and warm for the remainder of the week, or dry but not warm for the remainder of the week. It'll actually be pretty cold starting Wednesday evening and Thursday and Friday as well. If we go to the 4-day forecast, you'll see Tuesday, the rain that I was talking about there will start to increase, and it'll start to decrease again on Wednesday, and then the clouds will disappear come Thursday and Friday. And then as we go to the highs, you'll see on Tuesday, it'll be pretty warm up into the upper 40s and lower 50s for Tuesday and Wednesday. And then that cold front will head through, and it'll be down into the 40s again. And then the low temperatures will start to decrease, and you'll see that it'll get even down into the teens come Thursday. So the rest of the week looks pretty cold as far as temperatures are concerned.
Well, we'll definitely keep our umbrella handy for tomorrow.
Yes, you'll need to do that.
Thanks, Mallory.
Thank you.
And we're joined now by Brandon Curry. And Brandon, this was the weekend, if you were a Tar Heel basketball fan, to be in Chapel Hill.
The biggest weekend with the return of the biggest names in Carolina basketball. Coming up in sports, Dean Smith and Michael Jordan came home on Saturday. Jump on board the Carolina Week time machine. We're going to take you back all the way back to that magical 1982 season.
How you doing?
Hi.
Hi. Have a nice day.
You too.
Thanks.
If only child abuse were this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call 1-800-4-A-CHILD. All calls are anonymous and confidential. Trust your instincts. What is that thing?
Looks like somebody's double chin. Must have lost it snacking on fruits and vegetables.
Somebody's gonna trip on that.
Welcome to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Brandon Curry. I got a little souvenir from the Duke game in Cameron, and to the fans that held this sign up, all this means is that you got beat by a Muppet. Moving on to women's basketball. Epic battles usually involve two great teams in a fight to the finish. Not this one. Duke head coach Gail Gestencourse looking to end a 5-game losing streak against the Heels, but not if LaToya Pringle has anything to say about it. Check out this stuff. Oh, in your face, Duke. Pringle woman handled Lindsey Harding. She finished with 6 blocks on the night, but unfortunately things went downhill from there. Ivy Latta was in rare form and could not find the bottom of the net, and the Dukies took advantage of that poor shooting, went on to win it 64-53.
I guess it's just one of those nights. I've been shooting pretty good behind the 3, and just tonight is just, like Carolina said, it was something around that basket. Ball would not go in.
After playing on the road just once during a stretch of 11 games, the men's team left the friendly confines of the Dean Dome for 6 of their past 8. Carolina wrapped up this road trip in the unfriendliest of confines, Cameron Indoor, on Wednesday. Sports reporter Brian Allen has a recap of the win and a look at where the Heels stand with just 6 games left in the regular season.
It's such an undescribable feeling. I really don't have words to explain what it's like to come into a hostile environment and win on the road. It's one of the greatest things there is about college basketball to me. And,
you know, you just sit around and think about it all day, and you know, you just get so excited. And I told Dion, you have no idea how crazy this place is going to be.
In a rivalry with the intensity and history of Duke and Carolina, records and standings are meaningless. In the country's most intimidating and imposing atmosphere, recently it has been a freshman who has been the one to step up and hit the game's big shots. Look no further than last year's game at Duke, as senior J.J. Redick went cold in the second half, and freshman Tyler Hansbrough scored 27 for Carolina's first victory in Cameron since 2001. This year's hero was freshman point guard Tywan Lawson. After the Heels finally took the lead late in the game, Lawson scored on an acrobatic drive to the hoop while drawing the foul. 29 seconds later, another driving basket against 3 defenders pushed the game out of the Blue Devils' reach. Working with 12 players who see significant minutes, 6 of whom are freshmen, Coach Roy Williams has assembled the deepest team in Carolina history since the 1994 squad, which was led by freshmen Rasheed Wallace and Jerry Stackhouse. That year's team also beat Duke and Cameron, and also fell in the second round of the NCAA tournament.
Everybody keeps telling me that I'm stupid for doing it, but we're doing all right. You know, so I guess I'm going to continue to be stupid because I think the kids deserve to play. And as a coach, I only have one rule. I've said this forever. I'm going to play who I want at that specific time for that specific job. But, you know, I got guys calling the call-in show to say, hey, if I were the coach, I would say, well, hell, you're not the coach. I'm the coach. And, you know, I'm going to do what I want to do.
From Durham, I'm Brian Allen, Carolina Week Sports.
There was no time to celebrate the win. Carolina welcomed Wake to the Dean Dome on Saturday. After putting up 10 points against the Blue Devils, Rayshawn Terry put on a show against the Demon Deacons. The Winston-Salem native was perfect from beyond the arc. Let's watch a couple of these threes. And here he is just putting it up the old-fashioned way. Terry led led the team with scores with 23 points. Wake Forest was without its big guy, Kyle Visser, for much of the game. Visser fouled out midway through the second half, and Heels cruised to a 104-67 victory. The campus was abuzz this weekend with word that Michael Jordan was in town for the weekend's big celebration. Sports reporter Deshaun Brown has a look back at the 1982 national champions through the eyes of a superstar like James Worthy down to one of the team's student managers.
It was the biggest game I've ever played in or seen.
Back to Michael Jordan, jumper from out on the left, good! 63-62, Fred Brown looking, way to Worthy! Worthy fired! The Tar Heels are going to win the national championship! Oh,
looking back on it all, the one big hit, of course, is winning the national championship. Going up, cutting the net on national television was a great thing for me personally. But looking at that whole season and the friendships and the bonds that I made are obviously something I'll never forget.
It's just nice. It doesn't seem like 25 years ago. That's the beauty of Carolina basketball, is that it's 25 years ago seems like 2 days ago.
Starting point guard, Jimmy Black. Sam Perkins. Big game, James Worthy. Michael Jordan. And the best basketball coach there ever was, Dean Smith.
I still wear the ring. Sometimes I wonder why I still wear it, and I've taken it off at times, and it always feels like I'm missing something when I'm not wearing it.
Magical. Being that close to those legends, I got goosebumps.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brandon.
Okay, Adam, I have a game for you that requires rapping, dancing, and using your hips to score baskets.
Sounds like a game I would not be very good at all.
Coming up, we'll show you a hip way that SVP candidates like to debate.
Racial steering is illegal. If you think you've been a victim, call the National Fair Housing Alliance. We'll respond within 24 hours and help you take action.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
For the 5th year in a row, Bounce Magazine, a satirical campus publication, held the SBP Smackdown on Friday. It's a funny take on the traditional candidate form. Take a look at the madness.
They've been through a stressful 2 weeks, getting people to vote for them. So everybody likes to come and just has fun before the election begins.
Like a change in pace of from the SPP elections, because everyone else is there; they're all stuffy.
We employ various methods to really bring out their true selves. We strip them down to their core, take off their masks, and find out who they really are. And ranging from a game called Wallyball to the new Nintendo Wii, we're going to make them box each other and rap about their platform.
We are the leaders of tomorrow and the fighters of today.
My favorite part about tonight was probably the question and answer session.
It seems the biggest crowd pleaser was when they ate the rancid mayonnaise.
I liked the shot game. I thought it was pretty funny, their reactions when they actually got the shock. It kind of gave me a different perspective of all the candidates.
Oh, the entire night was awesome. We were laughing like nonstop the entire time, and it was a good turnout, and it was just amazing that the energy in the crowd.
The winner is Nick Neptune!
And Jessica, debates are often pretty boring, but people who sat through that one have no excuse to fall asleep.
I know. Adam, have you ever tried rapping?
No, I haven't, or the rancid mayonnaise. I think that was what did me in on that story.
Well, it certainly looks like they had a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Good night. Thanks for watching.